Hey everyone, I wanted to do a tutorial today on how to curl your hair with the wand, um, but there's so many videos on YouTube already on how to do it, and it's pretty much the same thing. There's nothing new that I could teach you. But after watching the video that's the most popular on YouTube right now of the young girl who burned her hair off with the wand, I thought I'd do a video kind of maybe educating people on different hair types and the heat settings necessary for each type of hair, because it is different for everybody. Um, so the first thing is I'll give you a little background on the different hair terms so you kind of know what I'm talking about. When people talk about how thick or how thin their hair is, they're actually talking about the density. So density means how much hair you have per square inch of your head, so literally how much hair you have. But that's not necessarily how thick or how thin it is. That's more of the hair texture. So like coarse hair is usually like ethnic hair, like super overly curly hair. They tend to be more coarse. And then you have your medium hair, which is just normal, and then you have thin hair, which is typically blonde, but that very fine thin hair. So that's the texture, and that also refers to if your hair is straight, curly, overly curly, or just wavy. Coarse hair, usually ethnic hair, it can take a lot as far as the heat settings. If you're doing a perm, if you're doing a relaxer or color, it takes a lot longer for the chemicals to penetrate, and as well as the heat. So it can take a lot more, just because it's very thick. You have the three layers of your hair: the outside, which is the cuticle, the middle, the cortex, or I'm sorry, the center of the cortex, and the very middle is the medulla. And each of those layers, and coarse hair is very thick, so it takes a lot more to penetrate. So if you have thick hair, it may take a lot longer for chemicals to go through or for color to go through. Medium hair, which is kind of what everything in the beauty world is judged around as far as the advertisements on packaging, and as far as time. So if a box says to color your hair for 30 minutes, it's judging off of normal hair. And that's usually just wavy hair. And then thin, fine, blonde hair needs the least amount of heat, the least amount of time for color. It penetrates very fast. Most of the time, fine hair doesn't have that medulla, that middle. It's just the cortex and the cuticle. So it penetrates very fast. And the girl in the video did have fine blonde hair. I'm assuming she used the hottest heat setting on her wand. And wands these days can get up to like 400 degrees. But most of the time you don't need that much. Coarse hair, when they get their hair pressed, the stoves usually get to like 500 degrees. But again, their hair is very thick, so they can take a lot more. When your hair is very thin, it doesn't take a lot. So the most you really need is probably like 200, 250, maybe 300 degrees. I'm actually naturally blonde and I do have thin hair, and I do mine at like, my wand's usually around 300, and that's plenty enough. And another thing in the video is she said to hold it for about 20 seconds, which is far too long for thin blonde hair. I usually will wrap mine around. Once I get to the end, I count to 4 and drop it, and that's totally enough. As you can see in the video, 20 seconds completely fried her hair off. 20 seconds for coarse hair is kind of even a lot. And another way you can kind of tell if the heat setting is too hot is if you have your hair wrapped around. You have it wrapped around and you're holding it. If you can feel the heat coming off of it, it's too hot. If you can feel the heat coming off and your hand's a couple inches away, imagine what that's doing to your hair, like completely touching it. And your hair has way less layers than your skin does. So if your skin can feel it, then your hair is definitely taking way too much heat. You also kind of have to keep into account if your hair is damaged, if it's color treated, if it's permed, relaxed, anything like that. If you straighten your hair constantly and then you go to bleach it, yeah, it's going to be damaged. If your hair is already really bleached and you go and use a ton of heat, it's going to get more damage, or in the girl's case, it fell off. So just kind of keep those things in mind while you're styling your hair. I hope some of those things maybe have helped you. I'm not a professional hairstylist, but I am very educated in hair. I am licensed. So hopefully that helps. If any of you do want a wand tutorial, let me know, but there's already tons. So I thought this might be a little bit more educational. So enjoy the rest of your day and don't burn your hair off. We'll talk to you guys soon.